this is a very important lesson. Incredibly important. This year we've built up through what's wrong with evolution, the fabricated geologic column, and it is fabricated. We've gone through what's wrong with evolution, manipulated data. You know, they have access to the same truth we have, but it's massaged and manipulated so that it is interpreted from a slant, plus much of the data is just totally left out, not even mentioned, because it's crucial, and it will cause the student to realize that evolution is not true and creation is true. So today, for the final lecture on what's wrong with evolution, we're just going to hit it straight on. What does evolutionary theory do? It actually defies the Creator. Our brains are unique. We think in a special way. At the subconscious level, people can actually reason, anticipate consequences, and devise plans, all without consciously knowing they're doing so. And this is from the technical literature. So we make many decisions that involved our life actions and even our destinies at a subconscious level. We need to be aware of that. And many of those have to do with life origins, creation versus evolution. Current scientific research has unveiled the fact that we are born believers, not atheists. And said, you know, there's a new article that was published in Nature magazine, and in Science magazine, and in New Science magazine. Science magazine, along with Nature, comprise the world's most prestigious scientific journals, and they have now recognized that there probably are no atheists. Now, people have been going around saying, there's probably no God. Can't be sure, but there's probably no God, and every once in a while, someone says, I'm a true atheist, there is no God. Well, surprise, surprise, as Gomer Pyle would say. There are no atheists. Really? Well, let's see what the technical journals had to say. A slew, quoting them, a slew of cognitive traits predisposes us to faith. Still quoting the technical journals, atheism is psychologically impossible because of the way humans think. Wow. Well, how do we get atheists? Or people who say they're atheists? Well, they work their way out of what they know innately to be true, and they deny what their own subconscious and consciousness has to say to them. Cognitive scientists are becoming increasingly aware that a metaphysical, that is reality beyond the physical senses and observations, a metaphysical outlook may be so deeply ingrained in human thought processes that it cannot be expunged. And that's from the technical literature. In general, the academic community does not believe in creation and does not permit it to be taught. So here we have from the technical literature an incredible new revelation that people are not born atheists, they're born believers in a God. They're predisposed to that. So watch this. Yet, now I'm quoting David Bassett. I sent these references to him. He's a scholar. So he sent back to me his response, and his response was right on the mark. So I'm using that as the point. Yet these same scientific researchers came to the irrelevant conclusion that spiritual beliefs have evolved over millennia as nature's way to help us cope in our struggle for life. Those same articles that say there are no atheists come around to saying, well, really, this is a multi-millennia long development in the struggle for life with its fears and dispositions, so that we have just ingrained in ourselves a belief in a supernatural deity. Watch what David has to say about this. Added to this was the idea that the evolutionary life force was really in charge of our decision making. Now remember, subconscious thinking, as we started by saying from the technical literature, subconscious thinking decides most of our actions. So added to this, in those articles admitting there are no atheists, technical scientific articles, but added to this was the idea that the evolutionary life force was really in charge of our decision making, not a personal God, just a concept that believed in a power beyond this life. And David ended this with talking about missing the point, and that misses the point. So how do you explain that? Well, the Scriptures said there would come a time when people would willingly be ignorant. They would be exposed to the truth, and yet would willingly deny that and prefer error. And we are there. So, this lecture today is vitally important. We see from the beginning that even though God has manifested Himself in the subconscious thought process of every normal human being, yet God is defied with a fist pointed toward the sky, ultimately. And that is a tragic, tragic state of affairs. The Scriptures clearly reveal the enlightenment that encompasses every conscious person. That which may be known of God is manifest in them, in their thought process. For God hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they're without excuse. But the Scripture doesn't stop there. I could understand that. I could understand how the incredible complexity of the entire universal design, from the macrocosm to the microcosm, would show us somebody had to design this. There has to be a superintending supernatural power, and it has to be a person, because we are persons made in His image. But then that Scripture goes on to say, clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power. We saw last month that God was capable of doing this, His eternal power, and Godhead. How could the universe expose us to the fact that there is a Godhead? God is triune. He's not three separate persons. It's not 1 + 1 + 1. It's 1 times 1 times 1.